Well, good morning. I'm outside and sitting in front of a brick wall at church and want to share with you this next part of our series, Right Living in a Ruined World. Today, I want to talk about learn to wait. Learn to wait. I think I'm an expert in this topic because my wife says I'm a very impatient person. I do a lot of waiting in all kinds of different ways, and I think I'm very patient, but apparently not as much as I think I am. The type of waiting I'm talking about here is living through those moments when you don't understand what God is doing and you don't have any power to change your circumstances for the better. So you don't know what God's doing, you can't do anything about it. That's waiting. Waiting will always reveal where you've placed your hope. Your heart is going to be exposed by the way that you wait. And if your hope is in power, your power, you're going to find it extremely difficult to live through situations where you're powerless. If your hope is in your wisdom, then you're going to find it extremely difficult to deal with circumstances that don't make any sense to you. And that's where we can get impatient, like me. If my hope and confidence really was in the wisdom and power of God, then I wouldn't find this waiting so hard. Because that's when I'm called to live by faith and not by sight. Well, that's the frustration of living in a ruined world. Nothing functions the way it was originally intended to function. It's all warped by sin. That's the frustration that's talked about in Romans 8. And everything is harder. Everything is more complicated than it would be without sin in the world. And so we're reminded in 2 Peter 3:14, it says, "So, dear friends, while you are waiting for these things to happen, make every effort to live a pure and blameless life and at peace with God." So we live in this frustration of waiting for all that God has promised to happen. And what do we do then? Well, we make every effort to live pure and blamelessly and at peace with God. That's the sort of waiting that we're called to as Christians. It's not inactivity. It's very positive, it's purposeful, it's spiritual. It's the activity of worship, adoring God's character, praising his mighty acts. It's the activity of serving, that is lovingly helping and encouraging others who are called to wait with us. It's the activity of praying, confessing my doubts and my fears and my failures and expressing my pain and frustration and hope to the God who has called me to wait. I just thought of this book I've read a couple of times called Action in Waiting. Although I've read it and appreciated it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. There's some heresy in there, but there's some really good stuff too about waiting on God. And that's the waiting is the reminder that you live between the already and the not yet. Waiting is not just about what I get at the end of the wait. It's about who I become as I wait. And so as we live in this ruined world, the right way to live is to wait on God. And as frustrating as that can be at times, that in and of itself calls us to trust and depend on him. May God bless you as you learn, along with me, to wait.